Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with the Witch Doctor yet again, moving on to the ancient path into the Desolate Sands. An area made of fun times, and sands that are also desolate and sandy. Yes! So I have to reform my army.
Lie beneath this desert, perhaps even beneath the sands we now tread upon. The Haradrim could not destroy them. They could only lock the door behind them. And I still have the keys.
A mighty adversary is before us.
Uh-oh. Hello, Loch Ness Stalkers.
A worthy foe. Glorious.
Excellent indeed. So what I really like about Acid Cloud is that there's no travel time. It's a lot like Firebomb, in that it's an indirect spell, so I can place it wherever I want, but it's instant. Whereas Firebomb has a little bit of a travel time. Acid Cloud pretty much just plops right where I want it to be. Alright, so we're going to start looking through the Desolate Sands, try and find the two areas that have Zoltan-Kuhl's blood. Oh, here we go. Pick that out there. Mass confusion! Oh dear. Come here. Well, apparently didn't actually need that. I really should be better about using my Mass Confusion, my Hex. That time I remembered to use Mass Confusion, but I haven't been using Hex.
Died here, and not by choice.
Brass wrote that this land was an oasis of surpassing beauty once. A great magical battle sucked the water from the earth, killing every animal for miles.
Alright, so we got a sub-dungeon here. Vile Cavern. Nothing we need in here, but it's experience, a possible resplendent chest. Plenty of elites, I'm sure. Jailed again.
The rockworm may very well be the ugliest creature ever to blight the world with its presence. Bereft of any features aside from its massive jaws, the rockworm appears to be a giant invertebrate. I should like to study it further, but its burrowing tendencies make it extraordinarily difficult to track.
Pop down some locusts, pop down a little bit of the Acid Cloud. This is a bit broken, isn't it? That's alright, I suppose. Early on, it's usually not a big deal. As long as things kind of balance out towards the end. And having played a little bit of Inferno in my time, I can tell you I know things end up balancing out in the end. Spiders. Speaking of spiders, one thing I did not mention last time when I was talking about changes in 104, I did talk about the corpse spiders. The Spider Queen got a pretty massive buff to her damage, it looks like. She's still not as much single target damage, but her AoE definitely does more. So I've got my contingent of zombies again, and I actually said it right this time. Yes. There we go. I like that swarm, I really do. It's interesting to watch a plague jump from a monster to the next to the next. And honestly, it plays really well with Acid Cloud. They're just two skills that... It's just like I guess you could call it a disease build. Lots of AoE in that. I'm actually surprised how well some of these builds that are coming from skills that you're given at random while you level work together, and I'm wondering if there wasn't some planning or forethought in that. To say, here's a bunch of skills that might work well together, give them a shot. Oh, no you don't. Come back here. Treasure goblins don't stand a chance. Not when I can just start putting damage on top of their heads no matter how far they run away. Oh dear me.
The world is a safer place.
I remember running into those worms the first time. They freaked me out because the very first time I ran into one, it came up right underneath me and swallowed me, and I had no idea they could do that. My character went missing from the screen, and I had no idea what had happened until it spit me out. It's quite amusing, really. These worms can be quite dangerous in that regard. Of course, I suppose while they've got you out of play, you're not taking damage from other sources, but of course, if you're playing cooperatively and your buddy needs you, that could be bad.
There, a worthy foe.
You know, I'm not seeing chickens. My shaman is slacking. Ah, look at the gold. All that glitters is truly gold. Now, they supposedly increased the amount of lower level legendaries that can spawn, so while I'm doing this series, I'm really interested to see if something will drop for me. That might be interesting to try. Could make for some interesting video, maybe, who knows. Of course, knowing my luck, it probably won't happen, but hey, we'll give it a shot. We'll see. Oh, I think I saw one there. I think I saw a chicken. The good news is I don't have to target him, and I can just kind of summon him while I'm running away. Hex really has some nice uses. Kind of a fire and forget spell. Just get away, do whatever you need to do, pop the spell, and he does his thing. Well, that's it for Vile Caverns. We got a resplendent chest, a few elites, destroyed a few rocks, and that's the important part, right? No, not the rock destroying. Shh. Oh, anything new to talk about? No, nothing with Cool, and nothing with Cormac, so that's a shame. Let's go looking around. Desolate Sands, really not much to look at. See, I'm thankful this is normal. Those Lakuni could be quite painful. They still hurt my Barbarian. Not as much as they used to prior to 104, obviously. But they're definitely not pushovers. They were definitely some of the stronger monsters that you would encounter. Yeah, I may not say in the game, but definitely in this act. Combine them with the bees that could shoot at you. And here's the tar pits. This is kind of the interesting thing. Areas on the ground that slow you down with the tar. I kind of wish they might have done more with that. You know, traps on the ground, things like that. Maybe not just something to slow you down, but maybe some other kind of effects. There's lots of traps in Act 1. And then after Act 1, it just doesn't seem like there's hardly any traps at all. I really wish that I think might have been more predominant, because there's, you know, you've got the achievements, for example, for killing so many enemies of the environment. It just seems like after Act 1 they kind of forgot about it a little bit.
During the Mage Clan Wars, the Viserai summoned giant demons
Needs
to
more
guard
time.
their estates. After years of patrolling the desert sands, the demons' hides became thick as stone and caked with grit. In the end, they have outlived their masters. Now, only the glowing runes on their skulls belie their true origins.
Now, this is working out pretty nice. I just put the locusts down as I ran, and then just kept popping the acid cloud on the group.
Miserable wretches. I have no time for your excuses. Chaldean is on the brink of rebellion, and the enemy is closing in on the archives of Jaunt and Khul. Slaughter him, and bring me the Mad Wizard's head and the Black Soul Stone, or I shall inflict incomprehensible agony upon the lot of you!
I do not have enough mana.
Oh, actually running into a bit of mana issue there. So, alright, there we go, 23. That helped the mana issue, didn't it? Resentful Spirit. Spirit Barrage, Spirit is willing. And Spirit Walks, Jaunt. The monster lairs. Oh, I walked right into that. That wasn't good.
Needs more time.
I don't have a lot of escape mechanisms here, but I have crowd control and lots of AoE. So of course I have to play to that, knowing that I can't really get away very easily. My playstyle quickly turns into making sure that I keep away right from the beginning. Of course now I'm going to have Spirit Walk, so that's going to change things up a tiny bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at the skills we just got. I got 3 skills, so let's take a look at my secondary. Haunt. New rune for that, so that didn't change much in this patch actually, which kind of surprised me. But a lot of the damage over time spells were reworded in a way to make them more understandable. Of course, Haunt already was the damage over time, as most of the ones that were changed to damage for amount of time. So what we're going to get is Resentful Spirit, which is a Vengeful Spirit that does 288% weapon damage over 2 seconds. So, compared to the base, let's take a look here. We have 575 over 12. So that's about 47, about close to 48% weapon damage per second. So this severely shortens the spell from 12 to 2. So it's a spell that's going to end up getting spammed. But let's take a look at what that is. That's 288 over 2. So you're looking at 144. So quite a bit more damage. Just with the, unfortunately, downside there is it is more damage, but it doesn't last as long, so it's a spell you have to maintain a lot more. So I'm going to have to keep an eye out. I'm going to have to make sure I put it out there in, well, it's 2 seconds, so honestly, put it out there, use another spell, and then probably put it out there again would be what I'd have to do. And I have to cast it more often, so that's going to kind of hurt the mana. So Spiritual Attunement is going to be a passive that I keep for now. So I'm going to lose Hex for Spirit Walk, and Jaunt increases the duration of Spirit Walk to 3 seconds up from 2, so not bad. We'll use that. That gives me an escape mechanism. I'm going to lose Acid Cloud for Spirit Barrage, but since I was talking about mana issues with Haunt, what we have here with Spirit is Willing is I gain 33 mana every time Spirit Barrage hits, and since it costs 81, I'm really only spending about 50 mana, assuming I hit a target. So that's not too bad, especially when you consider Haunt. Haunt is going to be far less efficient. So the Spirit is Willing, or Spirit Barrage, is going to be probably my primary go-to ability for doing damage, with Haunt being used for bigger targets. So we'll take a look at that. Let's move some things around, because I want to use my middle mouse for my travel skill. I prefer that. I'm going to go ahead and keep the Gargantuan up for my tank. Honestly, I'm really liking the way Circle of Life feels. The 30% chance is so much better than the old 5%. Really nice. Do I want to keep Mass Confusion, though? I'm not sure on that, and I don't know what I would replace it with. I could get Acid Cloud back, but that would give me 3 different damage skills to put down. Of course, Acid Cloud is damage over time. You put down Acid Cloud and Haunt, and then start using Spirit Barrage. That would be quite a bit of damage. I don't know. I'm going to keep Mass Confusion because I don't use it a lot. I want to try it some more. Alright, so put Haunt out there. That's, there we go. Oh yeah. I forgot how far Spirit Barrage can go, and it tracks. That's nice. He can possibly outrun the Firebomb. Can't dodge the Spirit Barrage. I like the change to the color. It's darker, a little easier to see. So many items. I'm going to have to go through my inventory soon.
To the death!
Yeah, this is going to take a little getting used to. I was liking that old build a little better.
Some of my blood is within that cave.
Alright, let's move this around here.
Needs more time.
Because I'm going to be using Spirit Barrage a little more often than I'm going to be using Haunt, so that should help me realize that.
We are well on our way. At this rate, the Soul Stone will be ours soon.
I believe with this soul stone, I will finally be able to unlock the true power of man. In ancient times, our kind possessed power unmatched in this dreary age. With the soul stone, I will be able to elevate myself to the strength of my ancestors.
Could we find more like that?
You know what I didn't realize when I started using Mass Confusion is it appears to originate around me, and I thought it originated at a target. Let me take a look here. Yeah, see, it doesn't say it's targeted, but it doesn't say around you either. But I've been looking at the spell animation the last few times I've used it. And it definitely feels like it's around me, so when it comes back up, I'm going to use it right away. Now what I've noticed about this build since some of the things I've changed is I now have hardly any AoE. My AoE is mostly in the form of my firebomb now. And that's something I really miss. I was really enjoying the AoE component of the acid cloud. Or even just the Locust Swarm, honestly, because that was technically an AoE. Well, I can't really call it an AoE because it was a targeted spell. But you pretty much target it, but it would spread. So it was a multiple target ability, but not necessarily area of effect, because it would hit one monster and then spread to the next, to the next, to the next. But it gave you that feeling of having AoE. Oh boy.
My curse upon you.
See, I think I could forego... See, if I kept Spirit Barrage as my primary, I could actually maybe even replace Firebomb with something else. But I could change...
No doubt the desert has swallowed its share of ancient texts over the ages.
There are many things that time has forgotten.
Perhaps we will be lucky enough to uncover some of those things.
It's only over 3 seconds. Alright, let's real quick, I'm going to point over here. And it looked like it was around me, so... Yep. Mass Confusion is around me. So, I could use that to my advantage, though. Now that I have Jaunt. Whoops. Wrong way, let's go this way. Oh boy, a socketed ring. Lots of spiderlings, groups of enemies. While we're traveling, let's see, one of the things I'm looking forward to. The next patch. Yep. I love this patch so much, and yet I'm still looking forward to the next one. Why? Because the next one is going to be the PvP patch we've been waiting for. I, personally, don't PvP. At least never did in Diablo. Never really cared for PvP in MMOs. action role-playing games in general, because a lot of them just turned into gear fests. I might try it in this one because the PvP is going to be arena-based and have matchmaking. I didn't care for it in Diablo 2 because most of the people that wanted to duel were usually far stronger than me or had a crap ton of gear that I could only dream to have. But the other thing I'm excited for, and they talked about this a little bit at the release of this patch, is they're going to do more than just PvP for the next patch, it sounds like. They're looking at including some other kind of in-game system, or something for you to do in the in-game, rather than just the item hunt. Now, I personally have always liked the item hunt, and now that the Legendaries actually mean something, the item hunt is interesting in this game. The item hunt wasn't that interesting before. The Legendaries were blah at best. Well, not at best. Some of the old Legendaries were still good, but the chances of getting them were fairly low. And more often than not, the ones you found were not very good at all. Now they're really good. Some of the best items in the game are Legendaries now. Much like Diablo 2, some of the Legendaries or Uniques are some of the better items. However, this time around, even though Legendaries are still really good, and chances are a Legendary roll will be one of the best items you can find, there is still that chance, based on the damage mods, there is still that chance that a rare can have more potential damage than a Legendary. You have to get the best roll, obviously, for it to happen, but it can happen. So they pretty much have met the goals that they were looking to meet on both fronts there. Before, they wanted rares to be, you know, if you got lucky with a rare, they wanted that to be the best item you could find. But they intentionally made the Legendaries weaker for that. And I think that was the wrong way to go. The Legendaries, they finally found the middle ground, I think. The Legendaries are now really strong, but they can still be beaten. But while I love that, the item find, now that there's items to find, some people still don't think that that's enough in-game. And you know what? Everyone's entitled to their opinion. That's fine. And you know what? A real nice change of pace or another in-game system would be kind of nice to see. So I'm interested to see what they do, because to be honest, after hearing what Path of Exile's doing for their in-game, Blizzard's got a lot to look into there. Because that's a really nice system, the whole random map generation, where you can actually make your own map with item mods. Oh no! Treasure Goblin's getting away. Got him. There's the way out. Ah, okay, there's the blood. Very good.
I cannot carry more.
Well, look at that. Whole bunch of blue items here, and I can't pick any of them up. Fantastic. Let's take a look at the rare item I found, and then I will do some inventory management. Oh, vitality. Less vitality. No. Nope, I didn't think so. Okay. I think with a little creative editing I can speed this up a little bit, so...
New goods today. Please look. You won't be disappointed.
Not right now. Let's get a journal. Or not. Right then.
I may look
Fine
small,
then,
but
little
I'll
girl.
hurt you if you try to steal from me.
Oh, you've won me over with your scampish charm. Alright, let's do this. Alright, so out of those items I did find a bracer that I wanted to use. It has intelligence and crit on it, which is kind of nice. Also gave Cormac a strength ring. Anything good here? Strength. Oh wow, look at this. A two-handed axe, 25 DPS, 42 intelligence. I lose damage, but I can always put something in the socket.
This desert
Maybe not.
is full of viciousness and spite. It's a wonder how people are able to live off its barren dunes.
The will to live is strong within these people.
Well, first part is down. No new conversations. See if we can't find anything interesting in these sands, shall we?
My mother told me not to join the Major's army. I should have listened. In the morning they're sending the infantry against the Barrage. I don't know how we're supposed to survive. Really not. It's so beautiful here. Maybe if I hid in the trees, they wouldn't notice I was gone.
I'm looking forward to getting past this part, just because I find the next part after this to be one of the better parts of Act 2. I understand deserts are meant to be desolate and all that, and I don't know. They just sometimes suck to walk through, you know? Looks like we get to find the blood now.
In here, I can feel my blood nearby. They hid some of it beyond this portal.
It's hard to believe the Hugeness came to a place like this.
Snakes. Why'd it have to be snakes? I'm doing a lot of damage, honestly. I haven't needed to really exercise the different skills that I have. There we go. That mass confusion's really nice now that I know how it works. Yeah, this firebomb is the skill to use right here. Oh my goodness, so much death. See, well, I recognize the Spirit Barrage as a decent skill, especially single target. I definitely miss having more area damage. I don't think this is the kind of build that I would ultimately end up using. So it's going to be kind of interesting as I level up and move past normal mode, if I continue to play like this. Because once I hit level 30 and I've gotten all my skills, at that point I'm just getting nothing but runes. So I'm going to have a bunch of different runes that may or may not play nicely together.
Bale was the most brash and reckless of the prime evils. After the Dark Exile, he was contained within the Horadrim Tal Rasha and entombed. Centuries later, Diablo freed Bale, who then corrupted the World Stone, to devastating effect for the barbarians who lived near Mount Ariat. The heroes killed Bale shortly afterward.
Wrong way again. This way, this way. Well, these internal areas are actually kind of neat. Ancient tombs, underground ruins. A place that I haven't really gotten to explore yet is the Collapsing Cave. Really like to find that one. I'm just wondering if I could just make Spirit Barrage my primary skill due to the mana return functionality it has. Well, I'm about to level again, so I'm not going to really worry about it right now. Might get a more interesting build. There we go, 24. Oh, a sacrifice rune next to Ken. Oh, the Toad of Hugeness! Haha, cool! I've been looking forward to trying him. And Zombie Handler, so... the passes are one I really haven't used.
Why is it that you and Lyndon argue all of the time?
Our motivations are complete contradictions of one another. I am driven by honor and the good of others. He is driven by greed and a calling that comes from below his waist.
Well, let's see here. Zombie Handler, you can have 4 zombie dogs at one time. The health of the zombie dogs in Gargantuan is increased. You know, they haven't been dying. I'm honestly impressed. My zombie dogs have been surviving. My Gargantuan's been surviving. I don't really need the extra health for them. I'm going to get a sacrifice skill, so... what I'm thinking I'm going to do here, and it's going to suck for mana, I'm going to get rid of Spiritual Attunement, go ahead and get Zombie Handler so that I can have 4 dogs. Let's take a look at the Plague of Toads here. Toad of Hugeness. What does this do? A giant toad swallows enemies whole for up to 5 seconds, digesting for 29% of your weapon damage per second as physical. Adds a 5-second cooldown to Plague of Toads. So I can only use it every 5 seconds. So this honestly would be better for the build I have now because I have honestly too many kind of direct damage or skills I have here because I have Firebomb, Haunt, and Spirit Barrage. It's like 3 different skills that have similar targeting mechanics I don't really need. So that gives me the 5-second cooldown. And since I talked about it earlier, there's Spider Queen. Look at that, 630% weapon damage over 15. That's quite a bit. So let's see. Toad of Hugeness. So it's 29% weapon damage every second for 5 seconds. So 29 DPS. In total, we're looking at about 145 weapon damage. Pretty good, pretty good. Let's give it a shot. Let's put on the Toad of Hugeness. We're going to lose Mass Confusion for Sacrifice. Next of kin is each zombie dog you sacrifice has a 35% chance to resurrect as a new zombie dog. That is pretty cool. That means I could possibly use Sacrifice more than once. I'm going to enjoy this. In fact, this is something I had mentioned before, and I forget if I had mentioned I don't think I had mentioned in the last video because I was talking about this with some of the people I play with. Some of the items out there, I've seen builds based around getting the cooldown for zombie dogs down. And you can get the cooldown for zombie dogs down quite a bit. And I thought to myself, you know, it would be interesting to make a build that's based around having little to no cooldown for zombie dogs and just sacrificing them. The DPS gain on that could be massive if used properly. So lastly, what did I get? I got next to kin, Toad of Hugeness. No, that's it, pretty much. Next to kin, Toad of Hugeness. So what do I want to do in this case? I'm thinking I might want to bring back my zombie dogs. I haven't been using Spirit Walk, but it is a nice escape mechanic to have. I think the Toads and the Spirit Barrage would work well together because this gives back a little bit of mana. Since I can only use that once, that gives me a little bit more mana efficiency. Do I want to keep the Gargantuan? Or do I want to keep Haunt? I haven't really been needing Haunt. Things are dying fairly quick. So let's do this. Let's put the zombie dogs back, and I could do that. They give a 15% chance to leave behind a health globe when they die. That includes sacrifice, I believe, but I'm not sure I want to do that because I don't really need the health globes. That would work if I had my third passive, because then I could put on Gruesome Feast, which gives me intelligence per health globe. I kind of like that idea. Not going to work with this so much. So let's do this. Instead of that, since I've got 4 dogs, I could potentially get a bit more damage out by just making them rabid dogs, giving that 9% damage. So let's do that. I think that sounds pretty cool. Dogs! And it does summon 4 dogs. It does say, yeah, summon 4 zombie dogs. I didn't realize that it had changed with the passive. I figured it says I could have 4, but I thought summon zombie dogs would still only give me 3. That's a nice thing to see. Okay.
A mighty adversary is before us.
There's a Toad of Hugeness. I don't think it can actually devour the elites, though. Okay. That sucks in the form of I can't use my Toad to break objects, so let's do this. I'm going to swap these around. Plague of Toads, even though it's my primary, is going to be in my secondary slot.
Not ready yet.
There we go. Kaboom! Now my dogs are taking a bit of damage, but thankfully with the lower cooldown, I'm none too worried about it. Well, hello. Boom! Did not last long at all. I'm kind of liking Sacrifice now, mainly because of the cooldown going down to 45 seconds. Honestly, 60 seconds was such a long time for zombie dogs, especially when the zombie dogs were dying quickly. So every 45 seconds, if I choose to, I can sacrifice them. Even against normal enemies, that's really not a bad deal.
I strike at your heart. More time.
Actually, I could do it more often because I've got the Circle of Life. In fact, I'm going to try this. I'm going to see how often I can get away with it. See, I've got 1 dog back already, because I've got the 35% chance to get my dogs back. Let's just see how often I can use this explosion technique. Now I've got the one dog, so even if my cooldown comes back up, what I want to do is sacrifice him before I summon the next batch. Because if I summon the next batch, I would have lost potential damage. I mean, seriously, right? If I use it, I would get 4 dogs, no more, no less. So why summon only 3 dogs when I can sacrifice 1 dog and then summon all 4? So right here, we'll just get them in there, summon all 4. And who knows, I might have actually had a chance at getting that dog back again as well. This, I like it. This is interesting. See, experimenting like this, it makes me question what kind of final build do I really want. Did I miss it? Oh, over there.
I rarely ventured beyond the bounds of Westmarch in my younger years. After the Order took me in, I had little need to travel.
Poor Cormac. Pretty much, I wouldn't call him sheltered, but he didn't get to live, really. And as you find out later from talking to him, a lot of bad stuff has happened to him. Anything interesting? No. So this is an interesting build. It's a sacrifice build that doesn't need any gear. Although this build would be made a little bit better, possibly, by having gear that does reduce the cooldown. Oh, I got one of my dogs back. Oh, blow him up. Oh. Really? Did I just blow him up 3 times in a row? And he still came back? Oh, that's fantastic! Do it again! Again! Oh, forgive me on that one, but that was too good. That dog survived 5 sacrifices in a row. That was awesome. That was... Oh, wow. I'm just gonna go ahead and summon them all. That was great. I could have just kept using that if... wow. I like this build already. My goodness, I like this build. What was that about Acid Cloud I was saying? Do I care about Acid Cloud anymore? I don't know. Maybe I do, because honestly, here's what I would do. At this point, I would probably replace the Toad of Hugeness with my Acid Cloud. Just because... A
mighty adversary is before us.
Really, with the Toad of Hugeness... Just look at that, it doesn't even eat these elites. All of my... Okay, either all of my dogs survived, or some came back from Circle of Life. Get them! Half of my dogs survived. This is fantastic. Yeah, I don't care for Toad of Hugeness. I don't. It takes enemies out of play, which is nice. The damage is decent. The 5-second cooldown, though, combined with the fact that it can't eat elites of any kind, champions, or rares, you know, just... I'm going to do this. I think this is going to be a great mix of the 2 builds. I'm going to put Acid Cloud back on. So I now have massive AoE, my single target, I've got my pets, Sacrifice in and of itself being an AoE, and so now I may not have, you know, my Locust Swarm, but I've got answers to almost any situation right now, because I do have an escape mechanic as well.
We found Ghoul's archives. They were strangely empty at first, but Ghoul laid traps everywhere, each step harder than the next. It was foolish to expect otherwise. Ghoul has prepared for many years for someone to come for him. Perhaps we are fools, and yet we must push on.
Finally, I have unlocked the secret of the Soul Stones once given to the Horadrim by Tyrael. An impressive creation, to be sure. but one that I am certain can be duplicated. No, not just duplicated, improved upon. My soul stone will be made to contain the souls of many demons, or even angels. My archives are at the northern tip of the Desolate Sands. There we will find my body and the Black Soul Stone.
Liar! We both know you will betray us the first chance you get.
I am many things, Templar, but I am no liar. With all the secrets I have learned over the centuries, the truth is far more entertaining. For example, would you like to hear of the true origin of your order?
There is nothing you have to say that would interest me.
I had forgotten he knew that. Having a little dialogue there with the Templar, now that's fascinating. I have to do this part with the other followers just to see what he would possibly say to them. Just another reason for me to love Zoltan Cool. So I haven't gotten my dogs back because I keep forgetting to sacrifice them. And I don't want to resurrect them without sacrificing them. There we go.
We have done it.
Alright. See, is there anything else? We may have pretty much uncovered all the Desolate Sands, so no special spawns, it looks like. I really would like to find the Infernal Device. There's a device that has 4 potential spawns on it. It's one zone, but it can spawn 4 different things. I've only seen 2 parts of it.
Your evil undoes you. Need more time.
Okay, so now I'm without dogs, but honestly, with a 30% chance for them to spawn from anything I kill, I'm not worried. Seriously not worried. Okay.
Here is the entrance to my archives. Let me activate the portal.
Alright, that's it. Pretty much. We're now at the archives of Zoltan Cool.
I had to build all of this for my research and my experiments. The Black Soul Stone was a complicated creation. I sacrificed much to make it.
So they got here just in time. Emperor Hakan? What are you doing here?
Good, everyone's together. I came to tell you. I have found Bilal, and I am ready to lead you to him.
Then the Lord of Lies will fall as soon as we recover the Black Soul Stone.
All well and good. But first, I will be made whole.
We're ready to do our part. Just you remember yours.
Alright. Double checked for any conversations. Ah, here we go.
I am prepared to read these keywords. I will turn the page. Now what? They are simple words. Words that I've never seen together before. Oh, I can see everything. Water on a leaf. A burning hut. Light in my mother's eyes. Oh, make it stop! It's slowing now. I can... Oh, no! No! I was a young man. A promising soldier of Westmarch. The Order recruited me. They lied to me. Piled false sins upon me.
Why do you think they did this?
I do not know. But I am sure this is why Jondar turned from the Order. He was a fool. The Grand Maester cannot possibly know what his Inquisitors have done. When I return with the tomes, he will punish them for their sins. Please, I must think on this.
Yes, so now he's finally found out the truth of it. And with that, you kind of get the idea that now that Cool has not been lying at all through this entire thing. More food for thought there, I suppose. So, yeah, while I was going through Cormac's story there, I just wanted to go through these, see what I've got. Now, I'm going to keep my helm because of the experience gain bonus. But I found this little offhand here that's not too bad. It's 1 less damage at the top end, but it's 42 intelligence, which is great. Lots of damage increase there, plus a protection increase because of the resistances inherent in intelligence. What do I lose? Well, health globes grant life. Don't need that. Plus 5 experience on kills. Not a big deal at this point. So I'll probably go ahead and use this fetish, which you don't really see on me, but let's go ahead and do that. Let's see, that's got intelligence with magic find. I lose my 8% movement speed, which kind of sucks. It's more protection, more damage, a little bit less life. That's fine. And well, you know, vitality movement speed increase. And we'll move on. So the question is how far am I willing to go to gain damage? Because if I put this on, I gain dex. Well, that's dex. I don't do that. If I put this on, I gain intelligence over the vitality I had. I think I'm going to go ahead and keep the vitality, especially because it's got experience on it and more armor, technically, even though this says it would be more protection. And at this point here, I found yet another one of these. Same intelligence, but I give up the 1% crit for gold pickup radius. I don't think I'm going to do that. That's just 3 yards. Not a big deal. Other than that, let's see what we got for Cormac. That's got 11 strength. This has got 26, so this should increase Cormac's DPS. And it gives him a bit more armor. So let's look. He's at 14.19.
This will help.
15.9. Very good. So there we have it. Before we end it, we'll go ahead and finish off the story here with Hakan.
Have you discovered Belial's identity?
Yes, but we must be very careful. He has noticed your actions, and he grows nervous. You focus on the Soul Stone. We can confront Belial afterward.
And that we shall. That's it for this segment. As you can see, I'm making them a little longer now. I really want to get logical progression down rather than worry about, at this point, I think I'm not going to worry about making them any set length. Honestly, about an hour seems good, because what I've noticed is when I was doing them shorter is that it just felt like it was taking longer and longer to get anything done, especially because I was doing all my editing through multiple videos instead of just doing editing on one video. So hopefully that's not a big deal. As I know I've kind of gone back and forth on that idea. I originally liked the shorter format because I thought it would be easier for people to get into. They wouldn't have to invest as much time into it. The way I figure, you know what, you can kind of stop and come back to it. And it just, I think it feels better when it doesn't stop out of nowhere in the middle of a zone or something like that. So, but hey, if you have any thoughts or suggestions on that, let me know. Some people have said they like the longer formats as well. So, honestly, I figure I'm not going to have any one, uniform way of that working out. Just because obviously some people are going to like it shorter, some people are going to like it longer. But hey, I hopefully this has been entertaining. Honestly, this last build here, this part, I want to get into the next section because I'm really enjoying this zombie dog sacrifice build. I didn't think I would have a sacrifice build made up this early. With Next of Kin and Circle of Life getting its buff, that's the big thing, Circle of Life getting the buff. Because any creature that dies, if I sacrifice the dogs and I kill 5 creatures, there's, you know, a 1 in 3 chance that those dogs are going to come back, and then there's a 30% chance that every of the things I killed I get dogs back as well. So I can start using this sacrifice build not just on elites, because that was the thing that I originally thought. I would be using my sacrifice on big creatures, the big elites, and that hasn't been the case. In this case, I can just actually use them. I run into a big group of enemies, just blow them up. Blow them up. I might get lucky and get my dogs back and can blow them up again. That one dog that lasted through 5 explosions was fantastic and has made me really enjoy this sacrifice build. I'm finding builds that I didn't think I would like. And that's awesome. It's like using Rend on my Barbarian. I never thought I would like Rend, but when they buffed it, it made me want to use it. So there's that. I think they succeeded in their goal with 104. And as far as getting things to feel better, lesser used runes and abilities are now being used. So, alright, this has been KageKaze with the Witch Doctor. See you guys next time when we move on to the archives of Zoltan Kulle.